Hello, Hamilton. Today is Wednesday, April 1st. Happy April Fool's Day. I'm so glad that you all tuned in because today is April Fool's Day. I'm going to be reading some funny poems. I also have some jokes, and then I have some riddles at the end we're going to be doing. So we're going to be reading from two different books, different parts of it. We're going to be reading part of the Runny Babbitt Returns by Shel Silverstein, one of my favorite poets of all time. And then I also have a really cool book here called Riddles and Rhymes that we're going to take some look at. So let's see if we can get started. Runny Babbitt is so funny, and I'm going to read the first part of this because it kind of explains how it's written, okay? Way down in the green woods, where the animals all play, they do things and they say things in a different sort of way. Instead of saying purple hat, they all say purple pat. Do you hear how they switched the first sounds? The p in purple went to be in the word hat. The h in hat went to be in the word purple. So instead of purple hat, it's purple pat. It's kind of silly. Instead of saying feed the cat, they just say keyed the fat. So if you say let's bead a rook, flip them back. Read a book. Good job. That's Billy as can see. You're talking Runny Babbitt talk, just like Mim and he. Do you hear how they're kind of switching those? It's kind of fun. And Runny Babbitt is the name of this. If you switch the R and the B back, instead of Runny Babbitt, it's Bunny Rabbit. Cool. So it's kind of like a code too. So let me read one in Runny Babbitt talk, and let's see if you can figure it out. Runny laints for pove. We'll have to find out what that means. Since Runny's parted staining, his mur is quite a fess. There's red waint on his piskers, and cello on his yest. There's preen and gurple on his face, but he could not lair kess. He's pappy, 'cause he only hates the things he loves best. I'm giving you a clue with the picture. What's he doing in the picture? He's painting. So when it says here, Runny laints for pove, switch the L and the P, he paints for love. So he paints the things he loves. So let's read it again. Since Runny's parted stainting, started painting. Good job flipping. His mur is quite a fess. Switch mur and fess. Fur and mess. His fur is quite a mess. There's red waint on his piskers. Switch w and p. There's red paint on his whiskers. Good job. And cello on his yest. And yellow on his chest. There's preen and gurple on his face. I bet you could figure that one out. Preen and gurple. But he could not lair kess. Care less. He's pappy, 'cause he only hates. Do you think he's pappy or maybe happy? The things that he loves best. Good old Runny Babbitt. All right, I'll read one more. And this time, I'm not going to give you all of the clues for it, okay? We're going to be reading Betty Tare, Stets Guck. Betty Tare. Think of that. I'll give you a hint with the picture. There's Runny Babbitt, and there's Betty Tare. Runny Babbitt went to see his good friend Betty Tare, who had some nice heat swanny that she was glad to share. They slobbed it and gurped it. It gluck to them like stew. Said Betty Tare to Runny, I stink, I'm thuck on you. I'll read that last part again. Said Betty Tare to Runny, I stink, I'm thuck on you. I see honey. I'll read it one more time, see if you can get it. Betty Tare Stets Guck. Runny Babbit went to see his good friend Betty Tare, who had some nice heat swanny that she was glad to share. They slopped it and gurped it. It glucked to them like stew. Said Betty Tare to Runny, I stink, I'm thuck on you. So silly. All right, so we're going to move on from poetry here, and we're going to be reading a couple of jokes. So first I'm going to be doing some knock-knock jokes. So it only works if you say who's there and, you know, all those things. Okay. Knock, knock. Wanda. Wanda go to the movies. All right, let's try another one. Knock, knock. Ken. Can you loan me $1? Oh my goodness, these are so silly. I just read these two over here. This book is filled with all sorts of jokes. I'm not going to read all of them because I don't have time, but I'll read a couple more. Knock, knock. Shirley. Surely you know who it is. It's me. All right, we'll do one more knock, knock joke. Knock, knock. Arthur. Arthur, any cookies left? Oh, I hope so. I love cookies. Okay, so another thing I love in this story, we're going to be moving on to some riddles. What I think is really cool is they post the riddle and then underneath they leave the answer, but it's upside down. So since it's hard to read it upside down, you can't read what the answer is. But if you want to know what the answer is, you flip the book upside down and then you can read it. So let's see if we can try this one. What do you get when you cross a laughing hyena with a parrot? And for a riddle, you're trying to think of an answer, and they're normally trying to trick you. I'll flip it upside down. An animal that laughs at its own jokes. Oh my goodness, that's so funny. Okay, let's try another one. What do you need to fix a broken chimpanzee? A broken chimpanzee. Do you have a guess? A monkey wrench. Oh my goodness. Let's try another one here. Why can't you tell secrets on a farm? Why couldn't you tell a secret on a farm? The corn has ears. Now that's really tricky because ears can overhear a secret, but this is talking about the actual ears on a corn. That's what you call corn that's growing on a corn stalk. So it's kind of a play on words. Okay. What did the old flower say to the young flower? Hello, bud. Because a little flower is called it buds. Oh my goodness, that's so funny. Okay, so then the last part we're going to do. This section's called Riddles and Rhyme, and it leaves us a riddle. And then at the bottom it says find the answers to riddles and rhyme on the last page. So if you go to the last page of the book, it is filled with all these different answers to the riddles. So I'm going to read you some and see if you can figure out the answers, okay? Let's try. Never seen, only heard. I only speak when spoken to. So you never see it, you can only hear it, and it only speaks when someone speaks to it. Do you have a guess for what it might be? I'll read it in the back. Never seen, only heard. I only speak when spoken to. The answer is an echo. That makes sense. You can't see an echo. You can only hear it. And the echo only makes noises if you first say something. It's clever. Let's try. From house to house I go, sometimes narrow, sometimes wide, and whether there's rain or snow, I always stay outside. Do you have a guess? I'm looking for the answer in the back here. Oh, here we go. From house to house I go, sometimes narrow, sometimes wide, and whether there's rain or snow, I always stay outside. The answer's a road. That's true. Roads are always going from house to house. Sometimes they're narrow, sometimes they're wide, and they're always outside, no matter what the weather is. All right, we'll do one more. I tell heat and I tell cold, and they in turn tell me, go up or down without a sound. I do as I am told. I have a feeling you might guess this one. Let me find it here. I tell heat and I tell cold, and they in turn tell me. Go up or down without a sound, I do as I am told. The answer is a thermometer. If it's hot, it goes up. If it's cold, it goes down. Excellent. I love riddles because they definitely tell different information in different ways and get you to think in different ways. You have to really pay attention to the words you use. So my literacy challenge for today is to see, could you come up with some writing just like we read? So you could either come up with a funny poem like in Runny Babbitt, where you switch the first letters of some of the words. So instead of saying, I have a red ball, you would say, I have a bed roll, which is kind of funny. And you can write a poem that way. Or you could write a knock-knock joke, just like I read some of the knock-knock jokes in this book. Or you can try and do some of the riddles, just like we read and we found the answers in the back, where it kind of gives you some clues and you have to really pay attention to the words to figure it out. It's April Fool's Day. It's a day to kind of tell jokes and do silly things like that. So I hope that you take this challenge and maybe try and write some of your own jokes. It actually takes a lot of brain power to be funny and to understand jokes because they're really complex. So I hope you take this challenge and try your best today on April Fool's Day. All right, I hope you have a great day, Hamilton. Check in tomorrow. We'll be reading another great story together. All right, bye-bye.